Hey, welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh vlog. Been a little bit since I did one of these. I think the last one was when I was still in Texas. So, couple things today. I've built my Mikanko deck finally. Took a little bit for that because I didn't want to order any of the cards until I got back from Texas. Because I didn't want them to come here while I was away and, you know. But, it finally came together, a couple of weeks ago, and, I've only been able to take it to tournament for the first time today. So I'll show off the deck, I'll talk about what it does, I'll talk about the tournament as well. Got, my entry packed open. Yeah, we'll do that. The thing about this deck is, so I first kind of became acquainted with it. First kind of got to try the deck out, I don't remember if it was because it was easy to make in Master Duel because they had the pack with it, or if that was just convenient timing. But I'm really bad at remembering how I came upon stuff. But at some point I became aware of the strategy, and I'm like, this sounds cool and fun. And I was looking into it, and I was like, okay, how do I find a good deck list for this? And I was looking into it, and it's like, okay, well, you can look at people who have topped with it recently, and this was sort of mid-September, so I'm like, okay, this is just after the Banlist, I think, that was in September, and I'm like, let me have a look around, and I found, a pretty recent deck list from a guy that topped an event, who was like, I'm playing Going First Mikanko, because the deck seems like it's built for a sort of blind second, kaiju your opponent, crash into them sort of strategy. But they're like, I think Going First is actually really strong. And this was before Age of Overlord came out. Age of Overlord gave us a couple of new toys to play with that made a certain Going First variant of this actually pretty strong. And it even won a YCS in Bolivia, I believe. That version is kind of not really viable anymore. It's still technically possible, it's just not consistent. That is the build that I played today. I don't really care for the toxic kind of aspect of this. For one thing, it's just mean. It's not good to to be toxic to your opponent. But for another thing, it's actually not even going to be possible anymore anyway, because today was my last chance to play it. As soon as I built it, pretty much as soon as the cards came in, Banlist came in, and a certain important card in the extra deck is banned now. So that's fun. I was pretty upset at first because that card did make the toxic sort of lock more consistent, but it wasn't strictly, that wasn't the only thing you could do with it, and it didn't, if they wanted to just get rid of that, there was another card they could have banned. I understand the arguments. I'm talking about Azalda for the record, I'll go over the extra deck in a minute, but there's a good reason it was banned. It just does too much for how easy to make it is. But, improvise, adapt, overcome. People have been looking into alternatives. I've already been trying a version that uses the assault mode sort of cards. Psi-Reflector and stuff. I'll talk about that, probably in another video once I built that version. I'm still waiting for those cards to come in. But, yeah. Sorry. God damn it. Yeah, it's stuck on throat. Anyway. Yeah, so let's just go over the den deck. So, of course, you got Ohime here on my mat. And she's both sort of a boss and also a starter. She's based that way. And there's a few other Mikanko girls as well. There's, where is she? Yeah, I'm not going to do a full deck profile here, but actually maybe I could. Anyway, we got Hooray, and she's not on this mat, because this mat I believe was made probably before she was added, but Hooray. This one's Nini, and I am actually going to run her in the new version of the deck, but at the time that I was looking at it, it was very contentious. It was very is she worth running? And I determined probably not, at least for what I was trying to do, but I think if you're going first, then it's not a bad idea. It gives you an interrupt, basically. But yeah, so I do like the new version better that I've been testing post-Banlist. I just don't have the cards for it, so I'm going to show off this, this will be sort of a historical artifact here. Anyway, the point of the Mikankos, if you don't know, their strategy is essentially, that normally in Yu-Gi-Oh, you know, at the battle phase, if your monster has more attack than the opponent's, you destroy it, and the opponent takes damage. But the Mikankos all have 0 attack and defense, and they have an effect. The effect, like the non-ritual ones, so Hooray, Huli, and Nini, all need to be equipped to an equip spell to gain access to this. Ohime just has it by default, though. Where if you run into an opponent's monster, not only are they not destroyed by battle, that part's just true anyway, but then also, if these are equipped, or just in general for Ohime, your opponent will take the battle damage instead. Oh, sorry, you also take no battle damage. Yeah, so basically, if they don't have an equip, you take no battle damage and they're not destroyed by battle. If they do have an equip, not only is that true, but your opponent takes the damage instead. So what you're aiming to do is to have, your opponent will have some big monster on the board, and you just run into them, and they take all the damage. There is a little more to it than that, and they've got a lot of fun tools for facilitating that, but yeah. So, God, where to even begin with this? I guess I could go over the archetype cards first. So, let's start with Ohime. Ohime, if you reveal her in your hand, then you can add a Mikanko card to your hand. You can just search any Mikanko card, but then you have to discard something. Sometimes you might want to discard the thing you add. Generally, you're going to be searching this. This is the Great Mikanko Ceremony. There is a ritual card. Actually, I should have it around somewhere, but yeah. I don't run it, because honestly, I think it's bad. But because she's a ritual monster, normally you're supposed to use a ritual spell, and rituals typically are sort of like proto-synchros, but without tuners, where you have to sacrifice stuff that adds up to the level, and so, she's a level 6, and then these are level 3s, so it's like, okay, you sacrifice the 3s. That's lame, and a waste of cards, so just use this instead. This is a Great Mikanko Ceremony. This lets you just cheat her out for free, the only caveat being that she returns to your hand, at the end of your opponent's phase. The thing is, that's not even a bad thing, because then that allows you to use her effect in hand again. Which, granted, you're just going to be searching for the second copy of this generally, but sometimes you might not. You might already have this card in hand, or hell, maybe for the situation the play actually isn't to summon Ohime, but it's to get another thing. There's all sorts of possibilities with that. So she's just a really great card, really great starter and boss. She also has an effect when she's on the field that lets you, as a quick effect, target an equip spell in your grave and equip it to a monster on the field. And there's just like so many different things you can do with this. You can use it proactively on your turn as like a combo sort of extender, which is what I frequently do. But you can also use it reactively and defensively for very good purposes. You're going to be dumping equips a lot, and so Ohime being able to grab them from grave and do stuff is very, very nice. For example, there's a good example is like Reflection Rondo, which I guess I should be talking about this when I get to the equips, but that essentially lets you steal an opponent's monster. So depending on what you do, it's very nice. She can protect herself by grabbing one of the like standard Mikanko equips and equipping it to her. Normally she doesn't need an equip on her because she just has her like the battle reflection effects anyway. But you can do that because the equips have certain effects to them. Anyway, so moving on to Hooray. She's also really... honestly, all these cards are so good. Hooray is a level 3 fire warrior. Like Huli, both of these you have to equip to do the battle reflection, but otherwise they still can't be destroyed by battle, and you just take no battle damage, so you don't have to worry about that. You always want to put them in attack mode. Actually, I guess that's not necessarily true. There's probably stuff that works on like attack position monsters, if I'm thinking right, so maybe sometimes you might want to do defense mode like on your own turn, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. Point is, so Hooray, when she's equipped with an equip spell, lets you grab a Mikanko equip spell. Now, unfortunately, there are a couple of equip spells in our deck that we can't equip to her. One being the aforementioned Reflection Rondo. You have to equip that to an opponent's monster. Another one is one that negates effects, so obviously that wouldn't work. But generally, for most of these, she's equipped with something, you can grab a Mikanko equip. And I'll show you, what the combo is with that later. Huli, meanwhile, she has a thing where if she's equipped with an equip spell, then you get to grab a Mikanko trap. There's a few of those. I want to say there's 3 or maybe 4, but I only run 2 of them. And Hoolie's also great because when she's equipped with an equip monster, your Mikankos can't be targeted. So if you can only have one Mikanko out, generally you want it. Well, I mean, Ohime is nice, but if you know, if we're talking the regular ones, Hoolie, because she adds some protection. Very, very nice card. And then there is Nini. I guess let me find her. Okay, I have no other cards here. Nini. I don't run her in this build. I will be soon. Nini doesn't do anything when she's equipped with an equip spell, but if she's equipped with an equip spell, yeah, then on your opponent's turn, it's not specifically main phase, is it? Yeah. You can just steal an opponent's monster. It's until the end phase, but you know, you can use that to stop them from doing stuff in some cases. And you can also use it for stuff like, you know, linking off with IP Masquerena. That's a very nice thing to do. So, I like this card. God, this sleeve is bad. Gonna be using it in another build, but yeah. Oh, here's the ritual spell, by the way. Very pretty art, but not very good, because you have to tribute monsters to do the thing. It does have another effect. Let's see. Destroy cards your opponent controls up to the number of equipped spells, different names in your grave, and then burn them for 1,000 for each. Not really worth it. And it's weird, because I feel like the general consensus is that, yeah, it's not worth it, just cheat her out with this. But every topping list I've seen, people will run 1 copy of it, and I have no idea. I have no idea why. It baffles me. Also, lists I keep seeing keep running like 45 cards, which is also annoying to me. I feel like if you can make it a 40 card deck, you should. This build is a little bit tight on non-engine, but like, come on. Anyway, so since I already have this card out, I'll talk about this quickly. This doesn't just work on Ohime. You can use this to special summon any Mikanko from your hand, ignoring its summoning conditions. Return it to your hand during opponent's end phase. During your main phase, though, while this is in grave, you can banish it to dump a Mikanko card from deck to grave. And there's, again, lots of applications for this. You can dump one of these two to allow you to revive them with one of the equips, which I'll talk about in a minute. Technically, you could also dump one of the traps, because they both have grave effects. You could dump one of the equips themselves. Many, many useful applications of this effect. So, onto the equips. This one is fucking incredible. It's like basically a custom card. Let's see. I think I run 4 of these. 4 different Mikanko equips and several non-Mikanko equips. Come on. Here we go. Okay. These are the 4. Water Arabesque. Oh, God, this card. Okay. So most of these have a similar sort of thing. Let's see. Yeah. These 3 are kind of the main, you know, pieces. And you can see they each have one of the main girls on it. All of these share the property that the equipped monster can't be destroyed by card effects. Technically, that also applies to non-Mikankos as well, which is... it could come up. So, Water Arabesque is crazy. During your main phase, you can special summon a Mikanko from your hand or deck with a different original name from the equipped monster, and if you do, equip it with this card, and then return the monster that was previously equipped with this card to the hand. So, generally going first... you're just using this on one of your own things. You know, you have maybe a combo starter, and then you use this, and you go grab the, you know, Hooray or Hoolie, and then you go from there. Which, by the way, when it re-equips to them, then they get their effect, so that's nice. However, the way equip spells work is you can equip them to your opponent's monsters. No special effects required. You can literally just go, I'm going to equip this to your monster. And so what this means is... if you use this going second, or if your opponent has a monster on field, like maybe a Magnamu or something... you can simultaneously get a special summon from deck and a bounce. So it's like a +2, I think. Well, no, okay. If it's going to hand, I guess it's not. I guess it's, that's not really removal. Okay, well, it's a +1 is the point. Well, actually, I guess, I don't know, it's weird. If an equip spell stays on the field, does it count as, you know, does it count as, like, using it up? Because normally if you, like, play a spell card, that's a -1, and then they have to kind of make up for that. I don't know. Whatever. Point. You can see my point, right? Like, you're simultaneously removing a thing, and you might be thinking, well, if you get rid of that monster, how are you going to crash into something? And we have ways of dealing with that. Several, in fact. But yeah, Water Arabesque, incredible card. Just absolutely crazy. Fire Dance. This one is actually... Both of these let you revive Mikankos, but in different ways. This one lets you special summon a Mikanko from your hand or grave, and then equip it with this card. And then you can special summon a monster from your opponent's grave to their field, but negate its effects. So generally, what you're going to do is, if your opponent has caught on to your whole, like, trying to crash into monsters thing, they may attempt to just be like, oh, well, I won't play a monster. Too bad. If they've ever, hand-trapped you, you can Fire Dance that thing. Also, even if they don't have anything in grave, if you have no means of getting a monster on their field, you can still OTK anyway, because of course you can. Leaving an empty board is not a good idea. And then we have Mayawashi Dori. This one also lets you rev from res, but specifically from grave, and it's while this is in grave. So let's see. If this card is in your graveyard, you can target a Mikanko monster in your graveyard, special summon it, and if you do, equip it with this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. Funny thing though, worth noting, there's a little ruling thing. There's a little card called Sangan, which says that when it leaves the field, you can, special summon a monster with 1500 or less defense or something. I always get it confused with the effect of Witch of the Black Forest. I don't know which. They're like slightly different, or maybe add it to hand or something. Point is, it's the kind of card you would want to send to grave, and so people would, use it for, tributes and synchro summons, or just crash it when possible. They always want to put it in grave. When Xyz summoning was first added, with those, the way that works is you overlay 2 monsters with the same level, and then you can summon a thing that has a rank equal to the level. So you can overlay 2 level 3s to get a rank 3. And then, Xyz monsters have effects that let you, like, detach and stuff. And so what was really common when that whole era started was people would summon Tour Guide from the Underworld, use its effect to get Sangan out, overlay them for a rank 3, and then what they would try to do is they try to detach Sangan and be like, oh, look, it's left the field, I can use its effect. And then you plus off of that, and it was crazy. They pretty soon after that, they made a ruling where they're like, that doesn't work because Sangan is not a monster when it's weird. It established this strange precedent where if a monster is used as Xyz material, it is still on the field, and it is not leaving the field. It's still there, but it's no longer a monster. It has transformed into an Xyz material, and then when it's detached, it is leaving the field, but it's not a monster, and so it can't get its, like, sent to grave effect, because yeah, it's fucking weird. And so what that means is that, I don't know why exactly this works, but it's not considered, like, leaving the field when it's detached. And so, like, this says, banish it when it leaves the field, but if you use it for an Xyz summon and then detach it, it goes to grave. It doesn't get banished. So, fun. Mayawashi Dori is also crazy because it has another effect, which is if a Mikanko if it's on the field and a Mikanko monster battles, then at the end of the damage step, once per turn, you can bounce something, return it to hand. It doesn't have to be the card that this is equipped to. It's just if this is on the field and a Mikanko monster, that you control battled, then you can target card bounce it. Very, very nice. So what you'll want to be doing, is using this to get your Mikankos out, grabbing this with Hooray, dumping this into the grave to recur stuff later on once they've gone to grave, and go from there. I mentioned that Hooray lets you add a trap. There's a couple of those. I run Spirit Walk and Rivalry. Rivalry was added first, and Spirit Walk's not in Master Duel, so if I ever do more Master Duel stuff with this, you are not going to see me do this until they add it. Generally, this is the one you want to add. It's better, but there's uses for both. I'll go over Rivalry first. If you control a Mikanko monster, you can target a face-up monster on the field and equip it with an equipped spell from your deck that can equip to it. So the most frequent use that I have for this in Master Duel is putting Axe of Fools on something to essentially turn this into an imperm. Axe of Fools, I guess I should go over that because it's relevant here. Axe of Fools you want to leave in the deck if at all possible for that purpose, but at least that's how I play it. Where is it? Axe of Fools. And I have it here in a Mosaic Rare. I don't know if that'll show up on camera. Anyway, Axe of Fools says, equip monster gains 1000 attack, but its effects are negated. And then also during each of your standby phases, inflict 500 damage to the controller of the equipped monster. So you give this to your opponent to negate stuff, and, you know, if they're trying to do a thing, you go, oh, flip Rivalry, attach Axe of Fools, and now they're stronger, but their effects is weaker. But, being stronger is generally not something they want anyway, because that just means they're going to take more damage when you crash your Mikankos into them. So very nice synergy there. Of course, with Rivalry, you can attach any of the things that are useful in other ways, like Ohime's, like same with what Ohime does from Grave. Like you could grab like a Reflection Rondo. Oh shoot, I didn't explain Reflection Rondo. It's like I said before, you take control of an opponent's monster, and this effect basically applies as long as you have a Mikanko. When this card leaves the field, then the equipped monster is sent to Grave. Yeah. There you go. Anyway. Sorry, very scatterbrained. I have a lot of cards to explain here. So, yeah, Rivalry lets you do that. And then, if Rivalry is in Grave, and an equipped spell is sent to Grave, then on that trigger, you can banish Rivalry from your Grave to add an equipped spell to hand. I think probably the one you want to do most often is Fire Dance, I would guess, but I actually haven't used that effect that much, because I don't tend to add this. I don't tend to activate this that often, honestly. At least not in person. Or, like, you know, if I have Spirit Walk, basically, because this is the better one. This one says that you can target a face-up monster your opponent controls and equip it to a Mikanko monster you control as an equip spell. Which is a very, you know, non-standard form of removal. I don't want to say it's unique, because there's actually been a lot of cards recently that essentially turn monsters into spells. But, yeah. So, and then, if a ritual is on the field, i.e. Ohime, there is another ritual, but it sucks, so we don't run it. Anyway, if that's the case, you can burn your opponent for 500 damage for each equipped spell you control. Typically, this is going to be at least 1,000, maybe 1,500, or even 2,000 if you're lucky. Then, you can no trigger required for this. You can just banish this from your grave and special summon a Mikanko monster that is banished or in your hand. So that's very nice. The banish doesn't come up that much, but the in your hand is like a combo extender. Fantastic. Very, very nice. And that's why I tend to try to keep them in my hand as much as possible, so I can either discard them or I can use an effect like you know, Spirit Walk or Fire Dance or something, or just normal it in some cases. Sometimes you don't even need to use your normal, and then you're like, oh, hang on, I can also normal this, and that's another piece to play with, you know, for a link play or something. So good to try to keep an eye out for that. Yeah, those are the two traps I run. Are there any other Mikanko cards that I run? I don't think so. I think that's it. There are several others. I mentioned Nini. I mentioned the other ritual. It's Arahime, I think. There's a couple other. There's another equip. It's like Mikanko Purification Dance. I have no idea what it does. I've just heard it's not good, so I don't run it. The ritual spell, obviously. I think that's pretty much it. So there is more stuff to go over though. Let's see. Okay, so in terms of more equips, there's Double-Edged Sword. This is also really important, because it increases the equipped monster's attack by 2,000, and then makes it so that both players take the battle damage. And what this means is that if you equip this to a monster that has at least 2,000 attack, and you crash into it with any one Mikanko, that is an instant OTK. Assuming they haven't increased their life points above 8,000. Because this will increase it by 2,000, so if they're at 2,000, that makes it 4,000, or if they're at 2,300, it goes up to 4,300. And so if you attacked over them with a non-Mikanko, you know, and let's say you were at like 5,000, right? That's 700 damage. they would take 700 as a result of that, but then you would also take 700. Or if you were lower, for example, if you were at 3,500, your monster would be weaker, so you take 800, but then it would also deal the damage to your opponent's monster. So I'm not sure what the original intent of this card was, because this is not a Mikanko card, it's an older card, I think. Actually, I'm not sure about that. This is from Amazing Defenders, but I think it's older than that. I might be wrong. Anyway, but because the Mikanko's reflect battle damage, what this is essentially saying is that this makes your opponent take battle damage, and then the battle damage that you would take is reflected by this. So basically your opponent just takes double battle damage. And so what that essentially means is your opponent just takes double the attack of the monster. So again, if they're at 2,000, increases to 4,000, doubled is 8,000. This is insane. And a couple of my wins, like game wins today, were from, they were like, okay, well I've got a few things here, but here's what I can do. Pass to you, and I'm just like, summon Ohime, effective Ohime to equip double-edged sword, attack. Well, actually, technically you want to do that in battle phase if you can, but move to battle, attack, quick effect to equip double-edged sword. GG, like you just instantly win. It's crazy. You have to, if you're going up against Mikanko, learn to play around that. I don't know how exactly. Maybe try to banish this from grave or like prevent Ohime's effect, but. Yeah, don't let yourself get caught by that, I guess. Or do, because, I'll be happy if I can get win off of that. But, okay. I think there's only one more equip. Let me double check. Oh, no, there's two more. Okay. Unless I'm a liar and there's three. I think there's only the two. Yeah. Sorry about the sleeves being kind of grimy, by the way. It's very unfortunate. I've only been using that, these sleeves for a couple months and they're already like that. Anyway, Angelica's Angelic Ring is a pretty recent equip. It's from Age of Overlord. You can only equip this to a monster that is already equipped with an equip card, and it has to be one that you control. But basically, each turn, the first time your opponent tries to activate a spell card or effect, you negate it. You don't get... This is not like a reactive thing. It's not, once per turn you can negate. It's the first one. It's a little bit strange that way. They basically have to, burn this effect. Like, they know for a fact their first spell effect will get negated by this each turn. Also, if you want, you can gain 500 life points, and while this is equipped to a monster, gain 500 life points, and then... destroy this card, and then the monster, your opponent can't target the monster this card was equipped to with card effects while it's face up in the monster zone. Can come up. It's a time card potentially. If you're in game 3 and you have a means of getting this out, you can equip this onto something, use this effect to gain 500, and then potentially win through just having 8 extra life points. Haven't used that effect yet, but could come up. And then finally, Infinable Arms Durandal, and this will sort of segue us nicely into another aspect of the deck here. While this is equipped to a monster, you can add a level 5 or lower Fire Warrior from your deck to your hand, and then destroy this card. Separately, and these effects are mutually exclusive on the same turn. You can't use both of them on one turn, but if you equip this to something, and then that monster goes to grave, and then this goes to grave as a result of that, then you can target a level 5 or lower Fire Warrior monster in your grave and special summon it. But you can't special summon one, but then you're warrior locked. That effect does not come up that much in this deck. But yeah, generally you're going to be using this essentially as a searcher for either Hooray or a couple other cards. It's just nice to have. It's also an equip, so yeah. This comes up much more in the new version of the deck, because that one involves a combo that instead of dumping equips in grave like this does, you equip them directly to something on your field. You get to grab from your deck and equip them, and then you go from there. So that's a whole thing. Right, moving on. We've run a couple of Infonoble cards. Both of these are level 1 Fire Warriors, so searchable with this. And they do a couple of useful things. Roland has a quick effect to equip to a monster that you control. It gives them 500 attack, which doesn't matter. The main point is equipping it to something like Hooray to grab a thing. It's pretty common, if your opponent is about to destroy something or remove it in some way, to quick equip Roland to get their search off. And then when this card's sent to grave, during the end phase, if this card is in the grave because it was sent at his turn, you can search for a Fire Warrior except for itself or an equip spell. So fantastic card, actually. Really, really good to have. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be running it in the new version because there's not really a good consistent way to get to it. There kind of is, but you could, again, because you can search it with this, and there's a way of getting this consistently, but it's it's unfortunate. Maybe people will be using it, but the list I've been looking at doesn't run it, so. And I apparently have no, independent thoughts, so I can't just decide to run it. Renaud, sorry. Renaud is a very strange card. I assume this is sort of this makes more sense this would probably make more sense if I knew the whole, Infinite strategy. I know they do a lot of similar stuff to Mikanko. It's like a combo deck with equips and stuff, so it's similar in that way, but instead of trying to make, these funky ladies that, reflect battle damage, they're just trying to make big bungus. Renaud, so level 1 Fire Warrior. If you control a Fire Warrior, you can just special summon him. Usually that's going to be Hooray, right? And if you do that, he becomes a tuner. He's not a tuner normally, but if you special summon him through, having a Fire Warrior on field, then he turns into a tuner. I don't know why it works like that, but it does. Also, if he's special summoned, so that could either be through this effect or through any other. If he's special summoned, then you can target a Fire Warrior or an equip spell that is banished or in your grave, except for itself, and add it to your hand. So that's very nice as well. So pretty common combo is you'll have Hooray, you'll find a way to grab Renaud in some way, special him, and then that's 2 warriors that lets you go into a certain extra deck card I'll go into in a minute, or you can sig for 4 because it becomes a tuner. 1 plus 3 is 4, and there's a convenient level 4 that is good for our deck, so yeah. Let's see, what else is there to go over? Speaking of warriors, only a few more to go through here. Speaking of warriors, we have this guy, Neospace Connector. This is one of our main normal summons of the deck. If you normal this card, specifically normal, then you can special summon a Neospatian or an Elemental Hero Neos from your hand or deck in defense position, the target being this. You don't want to draw this, but it's not a garnet because you can still use this effect if it's in your hand. It's just a waste of a draw, right? So this is a 1-card thing. You summon this, bring this out. This has an effect that you sometimes want to use where you can discard... you have to discard a card as cost, which usually is not really cost. Sometimes I use this effect just for the discard because I want stuff like my Mikanko's Engrave. You do that, and then you get to look at your opponent's hand, which for one thing is just crazy good. But then, if you control a monster that has a higher attack than a monster in their hand, you can force them to send that to grave, and then your opponent burns for 500. If, however, there's no valid target, you don't control a monster that's greater than any of theirs, which actually happens pretty often. If they don't have like a hand trap or something, Neospace's connector is only 800, Aqua Dolphin's only 600, so it basically has to be like a hand trap, or like a really weak sort of starter. If you can't do it, you burn for 500. So in time it can be risky, probably not worth doing it in like a late game 3 because you'll lose in time, but hey, it's a thing. It's useful. So yeah, this is 2 warriors, similar to the Hooray thing I was saying earlier, for a certain extra deck card. Expect this to get Astral Impermed, like, constantly, by the way. Like, people do not like to see you get this off. There is still play that you can do from there, but it is a little annoying. We're not running this in the new version anyway, so whatever. Okay, and then finally, this was not in the very original, like, first version of the deck that I built, but then, basically, there's a certain thing that was discovered. Again, the Diamond Tiger, which I run 2 copies of, and then I run 1 copy of Ken the Warrior Dragon. These guys are boyfriends. If you summon one, well, not if you summon, just if you're controlling one, then you can special summon the other one from your hand or deck to your opponent's field. And that is the spicy part, I guess you could say, because that is what facilitates the toxic part of this deck, which, again, is not going to be possible anymore. Well, not going to be consistent anymore. Still technically possible, but people aren't really looking to do it anymore because you can't. There's no like consistent combo for it. At least the people discovered. I guess there might still be. But anyway, point is, yeah, if you do that, you can summon it, and then when that happens, there's a mandatory effect that triggers. So if Ken is summoned to your opponent's field, then your opponent, which again you've given this to your opponent, so the opponent of your opponent is yourself. So you get to draw 2 cards and discard 1. And if Gen is summoned to the field, then you, which in this case is your opponent, discards 1. You don't always want to do that one. That's why, drawing 2 and discarding 1, that's very nice. You want to do that pretty often. So that's why we run 2 Gen, is because if the combo that we do likes to special from deck, and so you wanna be grabbing Gen and giving them Ken more often than not. You can do it the other way around, but it's less good because they might discard something that's good in the grave, right? You don't always want to do it. And if you're up against like Fire Kings, as I was today, you don't want to make them discard. They like stuff in grave. So yeah. Anyway, let's see. Is there anything else to go over from the main deck? Imperm is generic. Rota is generic. Golbai is generic. This card's a little bit cope, but yeah. Prosperity is generic. That's just a consistency card. Preparation of Rites lets you search your Hime, and that's it. So yeah, on to the extra deck. God, hang on, and I'll showcase a combo with this in a minute. I'll do like a test hand for you. Again, consider this, historical purposes here, because this deck is not going to be really work anymore in the new year. But I will show the new version of it at some point in the future, when it's built. Okay, so, extra deck. Here, this is the card that is getting banned as of, well, technically right now, because it's past midnight. Isolde, Two Tails of the Noble Knights. This is a Link 2, takes 2 warriors. When it's Link summoned, you can add a warrior from your deck to your hand. Generally, you're going to add Roland. However, the one that you add, you can't, normal summon, set, or special summon monsters with that name, nor activate their monster effects for the rest of the turn. So, you want to grab Roland with this because he has a quick effect to equip, and that's generally you're going to want to do that on your opponent's turn anyway. So you do that, and then it's like, okay, whatever. And if nothing else, is discard fodder. So there's quite a few effects we have here that make you discard. So if you actually don't have a better target, like if everything else in your hand you want to keep, generally it's safe to get rid of Roland. Yeah. The real shit with this card though, and the reason it's banned, is that you can send any number of equip spells with different names from your deck to the graveyard as cost, so your opponent can't negate that. Unless they imp this on summon or something, but yeah, send those for cost, and then special summon a warrior from your deck whose level equals the number of cards sent to the grave. So, in the pre-Gen and Ken version of this, people would generally, at least the combo I did, you would send 1 to get you would send Water Arabesque, if you didn't already have it, to summon Renaud, and then when Renaud is special summoned, you can add an equip to hand, so you would add Water Arabesque, then you would use Water Arabesque on it to return it to the hand to special summon Hooray. Hooray grabs you a thing, and then you control a Fire Warrior, so you can special Renaud again, and now you have 2 more things, plus these 2. That lets you make, like, Apollosa or something. That was the pre-Gen and Ken thing. Or alternatively, you can turn it into a certain other card that will let you grab Ohime, and then you can use Fire Dance to revive the Hooray, and then there you go. Then you got 4 link ratings combined again to make Apo or whatever you want. But again, this is the Gen and Ken version. So moving on, I'll explain the combo with this. You're actually going to be sending 3 to summon Gen. That was the consistent part. You could summon Gen and then use that to put Ken on your opponent's board. And yeah, very easy to set this up. GNA to Transversa. Either this or a certain other card should have been the one to get banned if they were specifically trying to prevent these shenanigans. But I guess they wanted to. Like I said, this is an Infonoble card or like a Noble Knights card, and I know it was strong in that too. So I guess that was the reasoning. Still though, this card, like, nothing good can come from this card. This is another link too. It just takes 2 effect monsters. It's got these strange sort of opposite diagonal arrows here, and it says that if this card points to 2 monsters, you can switch control of those monsters. Oh, I just realized they technically don't have to go to the same spot. They could... Maybe? I don't know how that works. Anyway, point is, so once you've given them Ken, you can use this card to take the Ken and give them something else. Anything else, in fact. And we'll get to that in a minute. That's all it does, by the way. It's a hard once, that's it. IP Masquerader, everyone knows what this card does. If you don't, basically just lets you link someone on your opponent's turn using this and other cards you control. Very nice. So, this card is like $130 or something. It's like £80 here. I was going to wait for this card to go down in price. And then Joel bought it for me for Christmas. Which I was a little, like... Obviously, I was, you know, it's a very nice gift. It was very kind of him to do that. But at the same time, I'm like, why did you spend money to give me this card? Like, I don't know. But yeah, go and send your thanks on my behalf to Joel. Give him my love. Very nice of him and kind to do that. This card is insane. It's strange. It's very fair. It's very well designed. People seem to agree on that. The card itself is fine. It's very strong, and everybody wants it in their deck. The problem really is just the price point, especially considering it needs to go in pretty much every deck. But yeah, it's generic. It takes 2 effects. If you link summon it using basically something from the extra deck, Fusion, Synchro, Ixies, or Link, then you can target a card on the field or in either graveyard and banish it, but also your monsters can't attack directly this turn. If you're going first, that doesn't matter. If you're making this on your opponent's turn, that doesn't matter. Again, very common to make this with IP Masquerader. Their names are similar for a reason. There's a lore thing there. So, yeah, that's in here because everyone runs it. Okay, we have a few more links to get through before we get to the combo stuff. Dark the Dark Charmer Gloomy and Heat of the Fire Charmer Ablaze. These you can make with 2 monsters that include their attributes. So this is 2 monsters including a Dark, 2 monsters including a Fire. I actually don't really know what you're supposed to make Dark with, like which Dark monster you're supposed to use. There's none in the main deck. I guess you make it with IP, which is bad. I should probably take this out. But Heat, obviously you can make this with Hooray or Renaud or Roland or, you know. And the way these work is that you can target a monster of their attribute in your opponent's grave and special summon it to your zone this card points to. So this is used for link climbing. So if your opponent has Ashed you, for example, you can make Heater, summon their Ash to your field, and then link these 2 off for a link 3. In this case, Selene, Queen of the Master Magicians. This takes 2+ monsters, including a Spellcaster, which these are the only Spellcasters in this deck. In the other version, Nini, Nini is a spellcaster. We don't run her in this one, so yeah, you have to make her with these. And when you do, you place when you link summon her, you place spell counters on her equal to the number of spells on the field and in the grave. And obviously, you know, you're what am I trying to say here? With all the equips in grave and on the field and shit, like, you're gonna have a lot generally. So, you know, here's how you link climb with this. You make Heater, for example, grab Ash, make Selene. Selene has 3 spell counters on her, and then you can get rid of 3 spell counters, as long as you have at least 3, to special summon a spellcaster in your grave, I believe. To your zone this link card points to, and it has to be... Oh, hand or grave in defense position to your zone this card points to. Anyway, so yeah, so then you'd bring back this, and then now you've got 5 materials worth, which... I don't have a link 5 in here, and most of them require like 3 or 4 materials anyway, but you can treat this as 1 and make a link 4. And generally with this, you're going to be making Access Code Talker. Access Code Talker, you can target a link... When it's link summoned, you can target a link monster in your grave that was used for this... for its link summon, and it gains attack equal to that monster's link rating times 1,000. So if you pick Selene, then you can make it as a 5,300. You can make this with, you know, you can do this with like a link 2, and it goes up to 43, which is still pretty good. if you can, good to do it with 3. This is for OTKing, obviously. So this is one thing is, if your opponent leaves their board empty, you can just access code. Now, we don't do the update jammer thing because that's like a whole Cyburst thing. It wouldn't really work in our strategy, but there's like a strategy, there's like a thing you can do to make this attack twice to be lethal, but we don't do that. We just use for 53 and then hope that we can, get the remaining 3,700 damage. Well, hang on, no, it's not it would be 2,700, I guess, another way. But yeah, that's the whole thing. And then the other link 4 we run is Apollosa Bow of the Goddess. I have this here in, I think it's Gold Rare or Premium Gold Rare. Not every card looks good in this. I think this one looks pretty nice. It was a nice rarity. I like this artwork. It says 2 different artworks. This is a link 4 which takes 2+ monsters with different names except tokens. And you can only control 1, apparently. I didn't know that. Don't know who the hell is going to be making 2. It has question mark attack because it gains... the original attack of this card becomes 800 times the number of link materials used for its link summon. So if you make this with 2 materials, like 2 link 2s, for example, it gains 1,600 attack. If you use it with 3, 2,400, 4, 3,200. And then once per chain, when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can make this card lose exactly 800 attack, and if you do, negate the activation. And so what you do is, you try to make this with as many materials as possible, and then you get that many monster negates on your opponent's turn. This is one thing you can end on going first. It's a decent thing to do. So those are the links. We run 1 synchro in here. This is the aforementioned level 4 synchro. Couple of different ways to make this. Generally going to be Renaud plus something. But there's actually more ways to do it in in the other version of the deck. But yeah, Renaud plus Hooray is generally what you're going to do for this. It's generic, just takes a tuner and 1/1 non-tuners. While it's on the field, it's sort of a mini macro Cosmos, because any card sent from hand or main deck to graveyard is banished instead. That part doesn't matter, no one does this. When a spell or trap card or monster effect is activated, as a quick effect, you contribute this card and negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. That also doesn't really come up. People don't really use it for this. What you use this for is you immediately link it off, because if this card is sent to grave, you can add a ritual monster or ritual spell from your deck to your hand. So, yeah. If you don't have Ohime and you don't have preparation of rites to search her, then you make this and you send this to grave for a link summon, and then you can add Ohime. Now onto the Ixies. We have a pretty common package here for anything that can make rank 3s. We got a Fortune Tune, Downer Magician, Zeus. This is a rank 3 that I believe can't be destroyed by battle. Let's see. Can't be targeted by card effects. If the face of card will be destroyed, you can detach an Ixies material from this card instead. It also has a thing, if it's sent from field to grave, target 2 level 3s in your grave, shuffle them both into the deck, and if you do, return this card from your graveyard to the extra deck. That's a once per turn. Also, during each of your standby phases, you gain 500, apparently. You never use that for that. You just use this because you can hit this into a defense position monster, or into an attack position one and detach to save it. Generally, you're going to prefer not to do that. You want to attack a defense position thing, if you can. Or something that's weaker than it, but it's 400 attack. Anyway, so you do that, and if you do that, then in main phase 2... Downer Magician is a thing that lets you can Ixies this, you can rank this up over any rank 3 or lower Ixies, as long as it's main phase 2. So you would put this on top of this, and now you've got, the 2 materials used to summon this in the best case scenario, plus this. And then there's Zeus. Zeus, if an Ixies monster battled this turn, you can Ixies summon it over the top of any Ixies monster and transfer its material. So, again, now you'll have 4 materials for that. Zeus is a pretty common extra deck staple. As a quick effect, you can detach 2 materials from this card to send all other cards from the field to the graveyard. And apparently once per turn, if another card you control is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, you can attach 1 card from your hand, a deck, or extra deck to this card's material. Didn't know that. Fair enough. But yeah, so this is just a common thing you can do, is this is sort of one of the toolbox aspects of the extra deck, is sometimes you just want to board wipe, and if you've got 2 level 3s, you can do that. So that's a thing. Typhon is the anti-Zeus. I pulled this in Agov on a video, actually. This, you basically use this if you want to counter, like, an extra deck thing your opponent has that has 3,000 or more attack. That's what it is. So it's an anti-Zeus, it's an anti-Baron. There's probably other uses for it. Those are the main ones. Don't want to get too into this because it's kind of irrelevant. This is, generic stuff. Finally, we have the Beast Day Resistance. This card is so fucking stupid. Number 30, Acid Golem of Destruction. Oh boy. So this is a generic rank 3, just takes 2 level 3s. During your standby phase, you have to detach an Xyz material from this card or take 2,000 damage. Generally, you're not going to get to a point where, where you're taking the damage on this. Like, the game's probably going to be over by then. Or it's going to be gone some way. While you control this card, you cannot special summon any monsters. And while it has no Xyz material, it can't attack. But it has 3,000 attack and defense. So, the intent with this card was that it was supposed to be something easy to make, relatively, and it was very strong, but it had this, like, downside, right? But the Mikanko community looked at this card, and they're like, ooh, what if we give it to our opponent and then crash into it? And so that's the toxic aspect of this, is we mentioned Geonator Transverser, and we mentioned Gen and Ken, who give your opponent a monster. So, you give them Ken, usually. You summon Geonator Transverser, you summon Acid Golem, and then you swap them. And then now your opponent is starting their turn, unable to special summon, and having to detach materials to avoid getting burned. And they can't even really make use of attacking with it because your Mikanko's reflect damage. So, yeah. Not fun for them. Kind of funny for you. It's weird. It's like... It's funny the first few times, but I did start to eventually feel bad. Whenever I would do it. But, well, for better or for worse, not going to be possible anymore after today. But, hey. Okay, so let me show you a test hand and show you the combo. Unless I brick. Fucking... God, okay. I guess I could talk about locals at this point. Today, I brought this deck for the first time. I was pretty confident with it because I had played it online a lot, and done a bunch of test hands. But, so round 1, I went up against D-Link, and I basically destroyed him 2-0. I don't want to, like, puff myself up here, but that is basically what happened. He couldn't deal with it. He actually did get rid of the Acid Golem, for what it's worth. Like, I think I only summoned that thing once or twice, and in both cases it was gotten rid of pretty easily. So I won off the strength of just the rest of the deck being good anyway. That's part of the reason this isn't worth it. You have to put in a lot of effort to give them this Acid Golem, and then it's not that hard to out. So, yeah. Now, you can't just use it for, like, a Link Summon or something. That's, doesn't work like that. But if there's any other way you can get rid of it, Tribute Summoning works, negating its effects works, sending it to grave for another effect works, like, lots of things you can do. Yeah. Anyway, shuffle this deck a good amount, I think. Let's go ahead and draw a sample hand. Round 2, I was up against a guy I'd gone up against before, who was like, oh, don't worry. It's a fucking weird hand. He was like, don't worry. My deck is bad. It's not fully built yet. I'm like, oh, okay. But then in game 1, we both bricked. I drew all 3 of my infinite impermanences. Which, I mean, that's not a once per turn, so I was able to interrupt him 3 times. Well, I think it was once on his turn, then I set 2 and then used both of them. And then I was not able to get out of that hole, and he eventually beat me. I'm like, okay, well, that's game 1. I'm fighting an uphill battle here, but let me try again. Game 2, I, like, semi-bricked, but there was a line that I just didn't see until it was too late, and I'm like, well, shit. I should have given myself more time to think about that, but yeah. Game 1 was like 5 minutes, by the way, so I should have taken my time, but yeah. And then, yeah, so I lost that, which I really had no right to do. And then round 3, I was up against Horus Blue Eyes, which I also basically beat without issue. There was a very fun thing I did where in game 2, oh god, he like didn't understand how the double-edged sword thing works. He kept thinking that like we would both take the damage. I'm like, no, this makes you take the damage, and then my Mikanko stuff also makes you take the damage. So you take double. Because yeah, he like left me on a board with I think it was it was some Blue Eyes fusion that has 3400 attack, and I'm like, summon Ohime, double-edged sword, attack for game, and he's like, don't we both take it? I'm like, no. But yeah, that was a thing. And then game 2, he once again left with just that thing, and I tried to use Ohime's effect to equip with something, and he's like, look, it's unaffected by effects. And I read it, and it says unaffected by trap cards and effects. He's like, yeah, trap cards and effects. I'm like, no, that means trap cards and trap effects. That's not how that... He's like, oh. So I guess he didn't, yeah. Anyway, so that one was an interesting one because, what did I have? It was, I think it was Ohime plus Hooray. And so 34 plus 34 is not enough for game, and I didn't have a means of giving in double-edged sword, I think. Actually questioning that now, but... Either way, what I did have was Reflection Rondo, and so what I did was, shit. Oh, that's right, I had an SP Lil Knight as well. So, I used Ohime's effect to equip him with Reflection Rondo. Oh, and Huli was equipped with Mayo Oshidori, I should mention this. So, Ohime's effect to equip him with Reflection Rondo, attack directly for 34, attack directly with SP Lil Knight for 16. This was on a different turn from when I used this effect, by the way. So that's 5,000 total. Attack directly for 0 damage with Ohime. Trigger the effect of Mayowashi Dori because a Mikanko card battled. At the end of the damage step, bounced a card. I bounced my own Reflection Rondo back to hand to give him control of his monster again, and then crashed Huli into it for the last 3,400. That was really... I felt very smart doing that. Anyway, let's try this. Let's try this test hand. Round 4. Right, sorry. Round 4, I went up against Full Armored, which I'd never played against before. I didn't even think that was like a functioning like deck yet. I thought it was just kind of a thing you did in the extra deck on top of some other deck, but no, it's like a whole water thing. The deck itself was pretty much fine, except the guy was running Gozen Match. And beforehand, I had heard people complain to him about like, dude, your deck is toxic, what are you doing? And I'm like, I've heard tell you your deck is toxic. He's like, no, it isn't. We go to game 1 and he flips Gozen Match. I'm like, dude, you can't call your deck non-toxic when you're playing Gozen Match. I'm like, look, listen, I'll admit that my deck is toxic too, but you gotta own that shit. Anyway, okay, let's pretend we're going first. Anyway, he won. Game 2 I breaked. So, unfortunately I went X2, which sucked. But, anyway. It's fine. That wasn't my deck's fault. I can't feel too bad about it. Okay, so, let's see. With this hand, I'd probably try to bait out, like, an Ash by using Preparation of Rites first. Pretend I don't have Ohime in hand. Go search for that. I'm not going to be shuffling my deck because this isn't a real game. I will do it before I draw, though. Let's see. Grab an Ohime. I now have all 3 Ohime in hand, which is strange, but it can happen. I also have Fire Dance, which I would usually search for. Okay. And here I am shuffling my deck anyway. Force of Habit. Alright. So yeah, I got all 3 Ohime. Effective Ohime. I reveal her in hand, and I can add a Mikanko card. In this case, I would want to add... I think still Ceremony, yeah. Because I don't have that. Make Mikanko Ceremony, add to hand, and I will discard, since I have 3 Ohime in hand, I could probably afford to just discard one of those. Unless this thing I specifically want engraved, let me double check. What's my other cards? Fire Dance and, Renaud? No, I want that in hand. Yeah. So I'll, shuffle the... I'll discard the Ohime. But I still have another one. Okay, activate Great Mikanko Ceremony to special summon Ohime. This goes to grave. Banish this from grave to dump Mikanko Water Arabesque. Then I would use Ohime's effect to equip itself with Water Arabesque. Use the effect of Water Arabesque to special summon Hooray from deck. Nice, just at the bottom. And then Ohime returns to hand. Then Hooray's effect to add a Mikanko equip to hand. Normally I would search Fire Dance, but I already have it. So in this case, I'm trying to think what I would search. let's see. Thinking here. I could add Mayo, I could add, I think I can be dumping Mayo anyway. I want that engraved, not in hand. Let's see. This water arabesque is going to fall off in a minute, so it's always good to have another one of those in hand. I guess I'll just grab a water arabesque. Reflection Rondo I want to engrave as well. So, yeah, we'll do that. Just to have a spare one. Okay, at this point, because I control a Fire Warrior, I can special summon Renaud. Link these two off. Because they're both warriors, I can special summon Isolde from deck. She's going to jail tomorrow, so I won't be able to do this. Use her effect on summon to add a warrior to hand that I can't do anything with. In this case, it will be Roland. Then use her other effect to dump 3 equips to special summon a level 3 warrior. So I will dump my Awashidori, double-edged sword, and let's see. No, I want to keep Axifals in deck. Let's do Reflection Rondo, sure. The alternative would be like Angelica's Angelic Ring, but like, yeah. Okay. Shuffling force. Oh, I need to special summon anyway. Special summon Gen the Diamond Tiger. Then I'll use his effect to special summon Ken to my opponent's field. And you specifically need it to be in the middle. I guess technically you could put it in the rightmost column and then put Geonator there, but this is how I'm used to it. Put Ken here. Mandatory effect to draw 2, to make me draw 2 and discard 1. So, actually I could have, I'm thinking, I could have dumped, if I added, yeah, it doesn't really matter. If I happened to add a Mayo to hand earlier, at this point I could have used this opportunity to discard it, but that's fine. I have no issue with this as it is. Yeah. So, draw 2 and discard 1. Another fucking prep rates. Okay, I could use Neospace Connector next turn potentially if I need to get more link material on board. Haven't done that combo yet, so I'll keep that and I'll throw out this prep rates that I won't be able to use. Okay, so again, I could have thrown out the Roland, but in this case the prep rates wasn't doing anything for me. Already got the AMAs accounted for. Okay, so following that, I can use Mikanko Fire Dance to special summon Hooray from Grave. And then with Hooray and Isolde, I can link off, because you can treat any link monster can be treated as a link 1, or as having a link rating 1. Make Geonator Transverser. And then, I believe next is the Mayo. Yep. Use the Mayo to revive Hooray again. You want to do it in this order, because then you're going to be overlaying them. You need to put it over here. And you overlay for Acid Golem. And then you use Geonator Transverse's effect to... Oh, you couldn't see the can. Whoops. Whatever. You put this on their field. Put it like that so you can see it. And there you go. Now they have a thing that stops them from special summoning. And then at this point, you can... let's see. Depending on your hand, there is more you can do here. With these two, I'm trying to think. So Ken, you could special summon again to their field if you want to make them discard. You don't always want to do that, but let's say for the sake of argument here that you do. If you don't know what the deck does, then it's kind of 50-50. But it's a thing you can do. Didn't manage to get Hooray out this time. That's unfortunate. Depending on your hand, that works sometimes. So then, yeah, they're effective discard. And then I'll link off. You don't want to just keep Geonator Transverser and Ken or Warrior Dragon. Oh, sorry, Ken should be in defense because of Gen's effect. Gen should be in defense as well here as well. Anyway, link those two off for like... If you had another material, it would be good to do IP, because then you could link off with something. In this case, you might just want to go directly for the SP, and banish like the Gen, or if they've put something in their grave. Actually, yeah, they probably have. Here's the thing, actually, is if they've discarded with Gen, they probably have tried to discard the thing that is most useful to have in their grave, so then you can SP and delete that. And obviously, since it's turn 1, attacking directly doesn't matter anyway. Oh, I should mention, actually, remember, you can still attack with your monsters if you use SP Little Knight's first effect. You just can't attack directly. So that's kind of relevant for Mikanko, right? Because often you're just attacking into stuff to make them take damage. So anyway, SP is not a bad thing to have on board. It's okay on board. And then yeah, so for for next turn, you've got Ohime in hand again, so you can do follow the next combo. In this case, Neospace Connector to do that whole thing. Water Arabesque to bounce and special summon something if they manage to get a monster out. Like, lots of stuff you can do there. But again, the Acid Golem is kind of easy to out, so like, probably not really worth the effort a lot of the time. But hey, it's funny. I'll do one more test hand. I'll do like I'll do a custom hand so you can see like what some other stuff facilitates. Let's see, do I have any other extra cards in here? I don't think so. Okay. Let's say that my hand is like, let's say it's like Rota, Hooray, I don't know, an Imperm, Prep Rights, and where is she? Not Hooray. Let's do NSP. Okay. Just as an example hand. So, just an example. In this case, you probably want a Rota to try to bait out like an Ash. Okay. Then you'll Neospace, try to summon Aqua Dolphin from deck. Come on, where are you? Near the top. In this case, we'll use Aqua Dolphin's effect to, if your opponent has hesitated using hand traps, now's the point when you're going to be able to try to rip him. So, use its effect, discarding Hooray. Look at their hand, get rid of a hand trap potentially. Then link these two off for Isolde. Isolde's effect to add Roland. And then also the other effect. Let's see. Roll into hand, and then the other effect is going to be discard Mayo, and yeah, let's do the same three: Reflection Rondo and Double-Edged Sword. By the way, the reason this deck doesn't run like Ash by default, even though many decks do, is because you don't really care about your opponent building a board. Impum's still nice to try to stop to counter interruptions, but if your opponent's like, I'm searching this thing to build my board, like, let them. Let them build their board so you can run into it. Anyway, oh yeah, I gotta gotta summon Gen. That's right. Summon Gen. Use Gen's effect to summon Ken to the opponent's field. Where's Ken? Summon Ken. Can't see that. Yeah. So it's slightly fucked up here, but whatever. Okay. So yeah. Ooh. Actually, instead of Reflection Rondo, let's take this opportunity to dump. This might not end up mattering, but let's actually dump Water Arabesque. In this case. Maybe I should have done an example going second hand, but yeah. And when Ken is summoned, obviously there's the mandatory draw 2 and discard 1. Ooh. I will probably not need a second Neo space, so let's get rid of that. Okay, Renord in hand is pretty nice. At this point, let's prep rights, grab Ohime. Really shouldn't shuffle anymore. Ohime, don't shuffle, resist the urge to shuffle. Okay, Ohime to hand. Ohime effect. Add, where is it? Ceremony. And then now I guess I discard Roland. Shit, damn it. I'm supposed to shuffle. Yeah, let's discard Roland. Or if you feel like you don't need the Imperm, I guess you could do that, but I would do Roland. Okay, so yeah, then summon Ohime. And equip it with Water Arabesque. Put that here. Water Arabesque effect. At this point you summon your Hooray effect to add Fire Dance to hand. Oh, this bounces, by the way. Don't shuffle. Let's see. Renord, you can special summon because you have Hooray out. I think at this point you would... Yeah, I think you link off the Hooray and the Isolde. You want to be using your... for combos, you want to use your Mikankos as the materials pretty often, because then you can revive them and stuff. Make GNA to Transverser. In this case, the Renord isn't doing much, it's just kind of an extender. Oh, I forgot. The Renord is special summoned. You can grab and equip. So, I could not have done that to get the Water Arabesque, unfortunately, but that's fine. In this case, I'll grab... shit, is there even anything I want? Ooh, you know what? Let's actually not do the Renord because we're going to revive the Hooray in a minute. Let's keep that in hand, just for an example of a better play here. We'll pretend we didn't do that. Okay, so we made GNA to Transverser. Then we will, let's see. Did we use Fire? No, we haven't used Fire Dance yet. Okay, I was confused for a second. Fire Dance. In this case, we'll actually summon the Hooray. The Hooray will let us grab a Mikanko trap. So we will grab a Spirit Walk. Don't shuffle. Unlike Sonic, I don't chuckle. I'd rather flex my knuckles. So we actually want to keep Hooray if possible. So what we're going to do in this case is we're going to just keep her there with Fire Dance. Actually, Mayo is nice to have. You could do this either way, you know. Mayo, the Hooray, or the other way around. Whatever you prefer. Honestly, this is probably better. Is Mayo the Hooray. I know I said there was a whole thing about detach, but Mayo is just so nice to have. Though I guess it's more on your turn. I don't know. Whatever. So, you know, at this point, you'd do this, put the Acid Golem. Oh, no you wouldn't. No you wouldn't. Now is when you want to bring Renord out. Yeah, there you go. That was the whole reason I did that. Okay, and then because Renord was special summoned, add to hand and equip, you grab Arabesque. That's a better order. Okay, so now you got Arabesque in hand for follow-up. Okay, then you can overlay these for this. This falls off. And then GNA Transverser effect, you know. Do this, now your opponent can't special summon, very toxic. And at this point, you know, you've got Hooray, which is staying here being cool. But you can also, sorry, this should be in defense. You could use Ken's effect to give them again, you know, make them discard something. At this point, you know, they'll be starting their turn with 3 and drawing up to 4, which is funny. Again, you know, they'll have to discard something. Don't shuffle, come on. Oops. Okay. So then you'll want to link off your Genator Transverser and, I don't know, let's say a Renaud into IP. And then what's nice here is that you can proactively SP on your opponent's turn with your IP and your Ken. This is, what this opening hand has afforded us. And then simultaneously, we can also set, this, for example, this imp. And this could be anything. We can pretend it's some interrupt, right? I don't run Ash, but it could be like, I don't know. It could have been a lot of things. And then Spirit Walk. And so for next turn, your opponent can't special summon. You have Hooray out here that will, if they attack, then they're not going to attack. But Mayo is a thing. It protects Hooray from destruction by card effects, and Hooray can't be targeted. IP can quick effect to what am I trying to say? Quick effect link summon with it, so you could link these two off for the SP, and then banish something, and then you also have the quick effect banish 2 monsters, including one you control, until the end phase. You could use that as well. You've got the Spirit Walk to equip something, like if they try to summon something, let's pretend this is something they summoned. You can equip it, and then it wouldn't burn them in this case because you don't have Ohime. You got the Imperm, and they have to out the Acid Golem. And for next turn, you've got, in this case, Ohime, which you could grab another Ceremony, summon her, crash these two into them. Let's see, you got Double-Edged Sword in there, so that would be game if they weren't able to out the Acid Golem. Alternatively, there's other plays you could do. If they manage to get rid of that, play through, summon something, you could Arabesque, bounce it to special another Hooray, and keep going from there. You could grab you could summon the Hooray, grab a Reflection Rondo, use Reflection Rondo. There's a whole bunch of stuff you could do. So, that part, that whole, playing around with, setting up these interrupts and, having your Mikankos hit. It's really funny to me that, yes, there's the boss monster in the form of the ritual, but also just Hooray with an equip is, a board. Can't be destroyed, can't be, if it's Mayo, it can't be targeted. That's crazy. She probably gave you a trap card. That aspect of it to me is very fun. The getting your combo to try to get as many pieces of interruption out as possible. I find that aspect very fun. And for whatever reason, the deck just clicks with me. I learned Sword Soul, and Sword Soul is a simple deck that you can pick up and play very easily, but getting very good at it, which you can do. There are people who are very good at that deck, much better than me, than I ever was. But, with as much experience as I had, I didn't find it as fun, and I just didn't really enjoy, playing it all that much. Whereas this deck, it feels right. Again, the Acid Golem thing, not as much, but I fell in love with, just the Master Duel version that just... It ends on an Apo and a Mikanko, which that's not the best board you can do. There's so much better stuff, but even that was very fun to me, just playing around. If you've seen the video on my channel in the Master Duel Players called the most intense duel I've ever had in Master Duel, that was some of the most fun Yu-Gi-Oh! I've ever had in my life. Now, granted, I also had some of the worst Yu-Gi-Oh! Ever with this deck, which is not the deck's fault, but today against the Fire King guy, Jesus Christ, my fucking brick. That was garbage. We both bricked. It was hilarious. We were having a good time, to be fair. We were laughing and having fun with it, but I'm still pretty annoyed I lost that. I should not have lost that. He admitted, he's my deck isn't... He's don't worry, my deck isn't good. And I'm okay. And then he won anyway because I bricked. Come on, man. Anyway, so I can go over the side deck briefly. It was nothing special. 3 Droll is still good in this format pre-Banlist. Post-Banlist, don't know. Because, I think we're going to start to probably see some trends. People saying Labyrinth is going to dominate. Fire Kings, certainly, especially after Phantom Nightmare. So it's not going to be this big diverse meta anymore, probably. 2 Nib, for the combo decks. The standard 2 Lightning Storm, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster package for going second... anti-back row stuff. Cosmic Cyclone for more proactive back row stuff if you're going first. 2 Forbidden Droplet. Never actually sided this in because it's not that often that I need to out the monsters. Usually it's other stuff. But, you know, it can come up. And then I actually cited in this thing a lot. It was Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion. This is good against basically anything that does a bunch of shit in the grave. So, very nice. Yeah, and also this card is literally me. So, that was my side. Nothing special. Probably didn't need to show it, but hey, that's what I ran today. I'm still waiting on... I ordered 3 Spellbound like several weeks ago, and they haven't come here yet. There's been some orders I've made where the cards just never come. I don't know if that's the post office's fault or like what. I don't want to assume that people just didn't post it, because I would not assume so. But it sucks to think that, you know, just randomly like 1 in 50 packages or whatever is just gonna not show up. It might still show up, but yeah. There was also that one Sword Soul package I got where the envelope came and it had been cut open and it was empty. So, like, evidently somebody had opened it and stolen the contents while it was being posted, which I don't know why you do that, but... Oh well. Just quickly before I get to the tournament packs, I will do a quick preview here of some random other stuff that I want to show off. Let's see, I've got a bunch of Fire King stuff here. This is all the hollows from the structure deck. I bought 3 of them. I've only opened 1 because I'm not looking to quite build it yet. I got some of the Snake Eye stuff in here as well. You've seen, like, Flamebeard Dragon. I did open 2 more boxes of Agov, and I actually recorded it, but I got really salty at not getting anything good from it, so I didn't upload it, and it's lost media now. I mean, it's not lost, but... By the way, this is the other thing that Joel got me. I knew he was getting me something, and this came first, and I'm like, oh, wow, thank you so much for the QCR Diabell star. It's very nice. I thought this was it, but he was like, oh yeah, there's actually another card coming, and it just shipped today. I'm like, oh, shit. And then it came the next day, and it was the SP Little Knight. I'm like, you're fucking kidding me. This I can't really use until I get the Wanted posters, which are insanely expensive. You need 3 of them, and they're each like 80 quid, so, good luck. That's part of the reason I'm not building Fire Kings, is you need to do all that shit. Yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, that's mainly what I wanted to show from that. Speaking of which, speaking of stuff that Joel got me, this deck box was I got from him, along with this entire... Is it even going to fit on camera? I don't think it will. This entire, like, deck box, not deck box, like, card... It's like a fucking business, like, briefcase. It's a whole thing. I carry my mat in this as well in the other pocket. Got a couple deck boxes, some dividers, some, what do you call them, top loaders, and sleeves. So, very nice, it's been very useful. It's very heavy to carry to locals, but that's the price I must pay. I did a couple trades today, so it was good. Not having to, just put stuff in a tin. Here's some random shit that I bought recently for the other thing. Relinquished Anima, this is going to be in the extra for my new version. Ashura King, this is a very nice OTK thing. This is just kind of a preview. Emergency Teleport, still waiting on the other 2 to arrive. 3 Lava Golems for the side deck, possibly. Don't know if I'll run it, but hey, nice to have 3 secret Lava Golems. This I traded for today. Nice generic sort of synchro card. This is the ritual card I mentioned before. Just kind of picked this up from bulk, actually. There's always people opening packs and leaving their bulk lying around, and, nobody will mind if, people are just like, people can take from the bulk. And then Nini, as I showed before, so... Just thought I'd show those. Still waiting on some other cards. Quite a few, actually. Like I said, I need the other 2 emergency teleports, and I need all 3 of the targets, and the other things related to the targets, and a couple other things. So, still waiting on quite a lot. I'm not hopeful. I mean, I'm hopeful. I am, what's the word? I'm pessimistic about them arriving on time for me to, play next week. I should also mention, this week was supposed to be, a box tournament where the winner would receive a box. In this case, it was going to be a first edition Savage Strike, which is a set from 2019. Doesn't really have anything in it that would be, a great pull nowadays, because most of the stuff has been reprinted. But I thought it would be fun for a video if I happened to win that tournament. Unfortunately, they didn't do it today because, unfortunately, the store owner was ill, and they wanted to do it when she was here. And also, now that the ban list is coming into effect and I won't be able to really run this version of the deck, I'm going to have to wait until I get my new cards in, and I'm assuming they're going to do the thing next week, and I'm assuming that my deck's not going to be ready by then, so I'm probably not going to get that box, unfortunately. But we shall see. Of course, if I do any more openings of new sets, I'll be sure to record them. But yeah, I think I've covered everything except for the pack. Yeah, I lied to you earlier. I actually got 2 because guess what? Going X2 in a 12-person tournament apparently gets you 6th place. So that was nice. It was a nice little end to the because I was pretty annoyed that I'm like, I think my deck is good. I just got unlucky with it, and that's the only reason I got X2 instead of X1 or even hell undefeated. Imagine, but apparently I did well enough for that. So I thought it was top 8 gets prizing. Apparently it's only top 6, but I just got in. I got 6th place, and yeah, so from what I can tell, entry gets you 1 pack, or I guess it's a certain amount of packs sometimes. Like the box tournament would have, it has a £10 entry, so you'd probably get 2 entry packs. I think the, what was it? The OTS, tournament I did, the big one, that was £20 entry, and I got 4 packs. So I think it's 1 pack per £5 spent. I think when we entered, locals in Texas, it was $10 entry, and you always got at least 2 packs. So I think that's roughly how it works out. Is it's 1 per £5 or dollars entry, and then you get extra if you go high enough. So in my case, I think 2nd through 6th place get 1 extra pack, and then 1st place gets a total of 5, so 4 extras. So anyway, let's stop stalling. This video has been long enough. This is actually the first time I'm getting OTS Pack 23 from this locals. We were supposed to have it for a couple weeks, and they just didn't update. And so the first OTS 3 packs that I opened were in Texas. Oh, speaking of American cards, when I was showing stuff for trade, someone looked at my Syac stuff and immediately was like, ugh, American cards, half jokingly. And I'm like, how can you tell? And he's like, it's darker. I'm like, huh. Someone else also noticed immediately. They looked through my stuff and they're like, these are American. I'm like, what the fuck? How does everyone know about this? A little bit of damage here. Don't know if you can see it. Anyway, so for the record, this set, kind of a shitty one, honestly. There's 3 ultis as usual. It's Kurikara, Div Incarnate, Enemy Controller, and Big Welcome Labyrinth. I guess the Labyrinth would be nice, as would the Kurikara. So either of those. Again, it's a 1 in 70 chance of a ulti. And people today were acting like, oh man, who got the ulti? I didn't get it. Was it you? There was one person that did eventually go, oh, I got an ulti enemy controller. And they seemed to think that it was like, oh, okay, so no one else would get one. I don't know if that's necessarily how that works. I feel like they could be close together, but what do I know? Anyway, so probably not getting the ulti today, but we'll see. Ogdoadic Water Lily, Water Giraffe. These are at least different from the other ones I've been getting, I think. I kept getting fucking TG Star Guardian. Oh god, please don't be TG Star Guardian. Literally, I'll take anything else. Soul of the Supreme King. Okay. I don't know if I have that. One more chance at glory here. Come on. Slippery packs. Yeah, these don't tend to get you anything good, but they can. I got the branded fusion for my second one. Another What Giraffe. Supreme King Gate Infinity, and Rescue Ace Preventer. Okay. Decent super. Let's check the prices of these, I guess, while we're wrapping up here. Card Market. For some reason, people at local seem allergic to Card Market. They always check prices on eBay instead. Okay. Rescue Ace Preventer. Which was weird, because I traded away, what was it, like a super rare evenly matched, and Card Market had it for like 66, is it cents for euros? So, it wasn't very much. It was like, maybe a pound or even less, like 50p or something. But like, somebody looked at it on eBay and they're like, oh, this is like £4. I'm like, it's not £4, what are you talking about? And they were like, and there was this other card that on Card Market was like 150, I think, 150 euros or pounds or something. And then on eBay it was like, 450. And they're like, yeah, it's basically the same. I'm like, they are close in price. Like, why is the eBay ones more expensive? I don't know. It was weird. Whatever. We did the trade anyway. Okay, the Rescue Ace Preventer from OP23 is worth nothing. And the Soul of the Supreme King from OP23, also not worth anything. Yeah, should have expected people have tons of these. Oh well. What about the Ulti Econ? How much did that guy get for it? Well, how much could that guy get for it? Whew, that's not bad. That's like 30 plus quid. Yeah, the first English language one is 35. Nice. Good for him. Okay, what about Big Welcome Labyrinth? That would be about the same, 30 quid plus. Ooh, the first English language one is, I can't actually see it yet. There's no English language ones here? Really? Oh, there you go. First English language one is 47.37. Damn. That would have been nice. Oh well, maybe next time. And finally, Kurikara Divincon. I expect this one to be the most expensive, because it's only gotten one of the printing in secret, which is stupid. Actually, it's about the same. First English one is £40.22. Oh no, sorry, £40, exactly. Missed one. Okay, anyway. That's all, I guess. Thanks for watching. Next time, I don't know. I don't really have any specific plans. I guess when the new version of the Mikanko thing is out, I won't re-explain everything. I'll just show like what the new engine pieces are and what the new combo is and stuff. And if I do any more interesting sort of tourneys or if I open any sets, I'll do those as well. I think I'm going to be doing a Maze of Millennia opening, and definitely Phantom Nightmare. And then after that, I don't think I'll do Legacy of Destruction unless they showcase some more cool cards for that. But so far it seems pretty naff. But we'll see. So yeah. Whew, that was a long one. Thanks again for watching. See you guys later. Bye.